All right, everyone. I'm fired up for today's episode. We got Pierce Brown. Frick, is it Brown or Ron?
It's Braun, but close enough.
It was a 50-50 shot. It was a 50 shot. I actually love Pierce. We've been boys the last, how long has it been now? Like 4 years?
Been what? Yeah, it's got to be at least four or five. We met freshman year at Grand Canyon, so
Yeah,
it's been a while.
nuts. So, brief background on how we met from my end was we were both trying out for the D1 team at GCU. And we both played golf trying out, and there was like 10 people who tried out, I think. And then we were the only two who made it to the second day after like a 68 and a 71 or something. um and was it a 68 on your end?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah. And so the second day, and then we pull up for the second day for who gets a spot on the team. And yeah, the coach was like, all right, so Piers, because I thought it was pretty even. And then he's like, well, he starts with a 3 or 4 shot advantage. I'm like, oh gosh. And it,
the funny thing was after that round, I thought it was just whoever won that round gets on the team, and the coach at the time was like, "Well, actually, I'd like you to play in a couple more events. I'm not really sure if you really fit the mold." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I kind of just like poured everything I had out into these couple rounds, thought it was do or die, and now at least I was living to see another day. But he put me in another tournament, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I'm straight back into it. Stress levels were high back then. I'll put it that way.
yeah, yeah. But you were a stick. Like you cooked it. You shot like 84, and then you dropped what another like 60. Didn't you go off on the front nine or something? You
I
shot
think
like
I was like 3 or 4 under through five. I remember that, but I mean, I quickly cooled down after that. I think I realized, oh my gosh, course records in jeopardy, and you don't want to say that on hole five ever. So it all
no,
it all
like
went back to reversion to mean.
literally been playing golf for 10 years up to this point, and you single-handedly killed my dreams of ever playing D1. So it's an honor today to it's an honor to chat. No, but please introduce yourself, what you do, like how you got into it, and let's just start there from a background perspective.
Yeah. So let's see. I currently run a waste management company in kind of like the apartment orientation of things. So uh, we we provide what's called valet trash, which is an amenity to the residents. Where if you live in an apartment complex, you're able to put your trash right outside the door every night, and then we have a set schedule of runners that will go out every night at a specific time, whatever time the property deems fit, and then we'll go and take that obviously away from you. So that's our main piece in terms of the service orientation of things. We also provide bulk services, so think like a mattress by the dumpster. Um, we pick that up, and then the main piece that we're really driving towards is what's called Waste OS, which is our software side of things. We're Our end state goal is to be full consolidation of vendorship on site for waste management. So basically, you'll pay us a fee, and then we'll handle anything from the doorstep to the dumpster to the landfill, everything where you just kind of eliminate all the friction possible. And then we'll give you the best rates because it's such a small line item for most property managers or owners that they're not really that intrigued to dive into savings at that standpoint. But when you're looking at net operating income increases or decreases, it affects the overall value of the property by a fair amount, even if you're saving them $500,000 a month. So
Yeah.
it's kind of what I do there. How I got into it. It definitely wasn't my high school dream to be in waste management, or my childhood dream at that. But I was in crypto for a while, since like I want to say 2019 ish, 2018, 19. And I started a decentralized finance project and then worked on that for probably just over a year. And then I kind of exited out of it. There was some founder dynamics that didn't really work. And then I joined a venture capital fund as chief grunt and just kind of did deal flow stuff. And then stumbled upon a guy who started a trash company, but more like DoorDash for trash, where it was like single family residential. So think like your 99-gallon can you roll to the curb. We would basically have a gig economy runner go out to the side of your house, move it to the curb and back. Sounds pretty pointless to most people who live at their properties full time, but the main key comes around like short-term rentals where you don't have somebody who's there all the time. So we did that, and I joined probably when they were at, I don't want to say, maybe like 50,000 ARR. And then I joined heading the revenue side of things, and then initially the financials as well. So I was revenue and financials, which kind of overlay each other. And then I expanded us into apartment complexes. So we were single family and then multifamily. And then I fell in love with it so much. I had a conversation with the founder of that company, and we were just kind of chatting about the future of what we were going to do from a revenue perspective, where we're going to focus. And he wanted to sell the apartment side of things in like 4 or 5 years. This was a year ago. And whether that's right or wrong, we'll figure out. But I didn't love that. I liked the apartments way more. And his space was so much more short-term rental. He's like dialed in on that stuff. So we just kind of decided to part ways, and everything was amenable. It's great. And then I started what's called Kaizen Waste now. So I'm doing this with a couple really, really good friends. And I think we're building something pretty special.
So sick. How do you like? How much do you think of an advantage it was to be, in PE beforehand, just knowing the
Hmm.
financials and numbers and the leg you have
Yeah.
now going into this business?
Yeah, and we got to keep in mind, like obviously I was able to be in the room, which was really important. But I was like, if you're looking at totem poles, I was at the very bottom, like, which was great though, because all I want to do was be in the room. I talked to the VC fund was called AZVC, and Jack Selby's the main man there, and he's part of PayPal Mafia and everything. And he was kind enough to give me a job. I had no credentialing to give me the job, um, but yeah, it was interesting because I came from a crypto startup, which is you're selling to crypto bros, and number go up kind of thing. Everybody wants to buy it. We had a lot of success, but it wasn't like true success. If you get what I mean, like it wasn't. There wasn't a way to make sure that there was a long term play, unfortunately. So that company actually has since died, unfortunately. But being around startups that were raising capital and really we're running a tight ship, a clean shop. It was a lot of fun to see. And in short, I realized I was much more an operator than an investor. I'm a terrible investor. I will admit that very happily. But because when I was looking at these companies, I was like, how can we make this work? And when you're a VC fund, you kind of got to figure out how they're not going to work. So it was a humbling experience because every single portfolio company or potential portfolio company that I would bring to the board, they would shoot it down like within 5 minutes. And I was like, what is going on? Am I really this dumb? But the guys over there are great. It was everything going and doing that process. It gave me a bit more of like a credentialed background to then quote advise for this company that was called Crew, and then join them full time. It was just it was everything.
It's funny how the journey goes. It's like from crypto to VC to trash to like I'm sure it's not going to stop there. Like it's like you,
Yeah,
you just build, you learn, you build. It's like it's all stacking wins though. That's the
100%. Yeah,
that's
I mean, money's the. Hold on one second. My dog's barking at the door.
you're good. Keeping it raw.
Yeah, um, I think I think at the end of the day, money's kind of just a way to like keep score to a degree, and I just love building stuff. Whether it's trash or it's crypto, I don't know what's going to be next. I'm sure there will be something next, no matter if we fail or if we succeed. Excuse me. Even if we succeed massively, like I just don't see myself retiring and doing nothing. Like I just love building things. So I think you're absolutely right. I think you and I are kind of of the same mindset from that perspective. Like you're building constant stuff that's all over the place.
Were you born with it though, or did you? Was it like a nature nurture? Like do you like? Did you just discover it after golf? Like
That's a tough question. I feel like it was definitely more of a nurture perspective because like when I was in high school, I didn't have um, my parents didn't like give me money to go out and buy anything, so I had to figure out a way to go do that, and that just so happened to be on the golf course and gambling. And initially, like I'm not advising some 12-year-old to go out and gamble because it's a very slippery slope, but it teaches you really fast, risk reward. And a lot of the deals that you make are won and lost like on the first tee. So that's where I really figured out, okay, before you make any bets, whether how good you play or how bad you play, especially in golf, right? Odds could just be stacked against you. So you need to make sure that you're kind of evaluating from that perspective. But I would say it was more nurture, but like my dad and my mom were all very like, you kind of think about the world differently. I'm kind of like more old soul oriented, where they're like, you can connect with older people better than you should, more or less. Like I joked around in high school, I had more friends over the age of 50 than I did like my own age.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a golfer's thing too, right? Just because you're always around the older folks and they want to play with good players. So, but I was around really successful guys because on a Tuesday afternoon, the successful guys are the ones that are able to go play golf. The other guys are in the office. So you start to orient around what they're doing and, what do you do for work kind of thing. Oh, I built this company. I did this, that, and the other. Like, okay, why can't I do that? And then you start asking more questions about how that kind of happens. And it was just super intriguing. I think everybody's gotten intrigued to entrepreneurship. A lot of times it just gets snuffed out because people are saying how hard it is, which is absolutely one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But it's the most fulfilling in the same breath. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
It's crazy. I think athletes just have a leg up, man, in
Mm,
entrepreneurship. Like, think about how many nights you had at the range, right? Where you're
yeah.
just like sitting alone, just balls, music or not. Just
Yeah.
let's shoot 70, let's shoot 64, whatever. It's like you say, okay, now I'm not going to apply this to golf. I'm not going to go pro, or I don't want to go pro. Let's apply this
Sure.
towards business.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how the discipline of, yeah, especially golf, like, it's not easy, especially to get to your level. And you can
Well,
see,
I
yeah,
think I think you might be hyping me up a little bit too much. Like I did make the Grand Canyon team
you're
compared
being
to you.
humble. That's why I am. You're being humble. This whole time you've been humble.
But in the same breath, like I didn't start at Grand Canyon. I mean, I had to leave and go to Hawaii to get some starts. Like obviously those are all fantastic
Still
levels to get.
D1,
What's
still,
up?
still D1.
Still D1, yeah. But yeah, there's obviously levels to Division One, and I'm very happy to be on that kind of echelon. But I didn't win any college golf tournaments. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think the athletes have a huge leg up. They just see the world from a more disciplinary perspective at a younger age, and they they adapt quicker to the real world. In my opinion, at least, I think that a lot of it comes from just having a lot of, like I said, a lot of structure to start with, and realizing that the chips are not always going to fall in your favor, and you've got to figure out how to get up when you get punched in the face.
100%. No, dude, it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's how we met too. So we talked
Yeah,
about it yesterday at the gym. It's crazy. What So walk me through current business. Walk me through the money model or the business model on that, as far
yeah,
as upfront. Is it software, recurring, service? Like, walk me through
yeah,
it.
absolutely. So the main piece is the Valley trash side of things, which is kind of what I just explained, putting your trash right outside the door. And so what we'll do is we'll contract with the property manager or the owner of the property, and we'll say, hey, we'll give you a density rate. You got to have everybody opt in to the property, and we'll charge you, let's just say $10 a door per month. So let's just say it's 100 units. We'll be making $1,000 a month, and they're going to turn around and they're going to charge each resident $25 or $35. And so they're going to make obviously a margin on that, which is going to increase their net operating income, which in turn is going to increase their asset value. So one, it's attractive because it's an amenity that you get to add, but two, it's attractive and much more attractive because you're actually adding value to your property by adding that amenity. You just need to make sure that you're balancing the fact that, okay, I'm going to charge my residents for this. Is this a large enough line item to where residents might not want to move into my property because they have to pay an additional 25 or $35? So that's kind of the thing where they go back and forth on whether it's worth it or not. I would say I don't really like disparaging our competitors, and I won't do that. But I would say in current form, or right when we started this company, the space was a bit antiquated and kind of good enough where the property managers were happy putting it on because it was that asset value increase, but nobody was raving about trash service. And it's really hard to do that, right? Like, have you ever raved about Waste Management coming and picking up your trash fast enough? Probably not. But you might rave about Amazon dropping off a package that was in 6 hours. So we got to make sure that we don't mess up because complaints are going to stack up way faster than commendations. So that's kind of the name of the game. So we do that, and then a lot of times I won't get too in the nitty gritty of it, but like we're looking at compared to the old company I was at, it was month to month, and I didn't love that because it was a cyclical sector within which is short term rentals within the cyclical market, which was obviously the real estate in general. So all of a sudden you see a fall off in real estate, people are going to be looking at the line items in terms of their expenses. Where do I really need this? And moving a trash can to and from the curb isn't exactly something that they're going to want to keep. So that's where I was like, let's try to get a longer term contract and higher density, because density is the name of the game. Getting more properties around each other, being able to utilize the same person for multiple pieces of the route is really important. So that was where we expanded to the apartments. I mean, it fits the mold for everything. And excuse me, our model, obviously, end state is going to be managing waste management in its entirety, but there's no reason that this is kind of pie in the sky thinking more so. But with the more connections that we get with property managers and the better that we operate, which I'm always hoping that we'll operate super well, but they're going to trust us in other avenues of their business, whether that be landscaping or security or whatever it is. So it's kind of it really is laying the framework as of right now for who we are. We're kind of pitching ourselves still rather than the company. Nobody knows who Kaizen Waste is right now. I mean, we've got a very small amount of units under management compared to the big guys. So I hope that kind of answered your question. I know that was a bit of a ramble on, but
No,
yeah.
it does. It does. I have definitely a few backups to that. So one is it do most of your clients say you have to pay this fee, or do they make it optional to the resident?
It's very, very rare that you make it optional to the resident. The reason being is, let's just say 101, unit 101 opts in, unit 102 and 103 opt out. Well, unless you have a camera that's down the halls, which they don't always have, unit 102 and 103 might put their trash right outside of 101's door. And then you just kind of, you get that issue there. There's a couple other, nefarious activities, so to speak, that would prohibit that. But generally speaking, we've never worked with a property that is, opt in or opt out. It's always been opt in.
Got it. What percent of multifamily properties actually have this service, whether it's you or your competitors?
Yeah, it's roughly, I want to say the number is right around 20 to 22% as of right now.
Is that just in
So
the valley, or is that
I know
nationwide?
that's nationwide. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Got it.
And
Got it.
you'll typically see a lot more of that being in the grade B and above properties. Grade C and below properties aren't really going to utilize the service for, obvious reasons, because each dollar at a grade C property that might be $800 a month, 835 is a bigger percentage change than 1600 to 1635 kind of thing. So, yeah, you'll see that kind of change there.
How many units are you like? What's the minimum amount of units you'll take on? Like, will you take on a fourplex, or are you like, hey, we only stick to 20 and above? Like,
So our smallest property, which actually we're launching in January, will be 36 units. And from a price per door perspective, it does not make sense to me. Like, we're happy to do it if the numbers make sense. But if I'm looking from an ownership's perspective, like, I think we're charging them $49 a door, and that's really, really expensive. I mean, maybe charging, we're charging, 150 unit complex or a 350 unit complex less than 12 and a half bucks a door. So that's where, I mean, it just depends on the numbers. Like, when you're passing this on to the resident in terms of like how much they're going to be charged, it's really rare that you're going to find something that's cost effective that's under probably 75-ish units.
got it. Yeah, no, it makes total sense. How are you getting these? How are you getting in? Are you, hold on, back up. Can
Mhm.
you, you're only focusing on Phoenix, right? Or can you go, or you take on any
Yeah,
other?
so our main goal right now for the foreseeable future, I don't expect us to be moving to a different state until probably at earliest end of next year.
Okay.
So yeah, we're trying to have, obviously in the perfect world, get hyperdensity here in the greater Phoenix metro. And we're lucky that we live here and there's so much product for us to be able to do, especially grade A. I mean, there's a huge influx of people coming here. It's a bit of a perfect storm for us. So we're not in a rush to get out.
Got it. So let's say, is it better to go after that 80% of, let's call it 80% of multifamily, like that already uses this, that does not use this service? and then hey, you be the first one to pitch, or does it make more sense to like a first go to a for sale by owner already who's using it, but then you know,
That's a great question, and that I think that's kind of that's the code we're trying to track or trying to crack right now. And I feel like we don't have a good enough data set to understand whether or not it makes more sense to go after the 80 or go after the 20. I think the better piece about going after the 20 is what we do is much higher touch point than our competitors, and our pricing is not far off at all. Sometimes it's, a slight premium, which can turn people off because it changes their asset value, right? But um, I would say we have much more success in that 20% side of things, because the 80% have all typically been pitched. We do have a different product, but at the end of the day, I don't think that I think that they all had reasons as to why they didn't want to use it. And a lot of times it's just, hey, I don't want somebody's trash ever sitting out in the hallway. I don't want it to be sitting out for 5 seconds, let alone potentially a couple hours. So that's where, you can't really circumvent that unless you have a porter that's on site at all times, or on a normal cadence there. So that's where the 20% definitely is much more where we're targeting. And like I said, that high touch point is a huge piece, but the Waste OS piece that is kind of our software play, that consolidation of vendorship, and also it's a controlling of waste spend. Like a lot of times you and I didn't even realize 6 months ago that properties are being overcharged massively by waste management or public services because they're overages. And that could literally as simply be, hey, they picked up on Wednesday rather than Tuesday. And Tuesday has a 36% utilization rate for valet trash, where it then all of a sudden makes that can or that dumpster be overflowing. And you wouldn't really know that. I mean, it's overflowing, but you don't know why. It's like, oh, well, shoot, it's an overage. We just have to pay it. Well, for us, since we take a photo of every unit every night, our computer vision models run. This makes it sound really complex. But our computer vision models run how much trash is out, and we can understand what that is from a a cubic foot perspective or whatever it is, and see if, hey, Wednesday is going to be too far from the Sunday pickup. We need to move it to Monday or Tuesday. And that sounds really insignificant, but that's like, just moving it to where you don't get an overage charge, which is, I don't know, anywhere from $75 to $250, depending on how big the overage is. Like, you could save $1,000 a month just by moving your schedule one day earlier, and you're not adding another day. It's just changing the schedule of it. So that's kind of what we're doing.
Do you find it hard to, like, is it what do you think is the bigger bottleneck right now, getting in front of more owners or selling the owners on the fact that they should use the service?
That's a really good question. I would say, getting in front of ownership is always it's tough. Especially at this stage, right? We're selling ourselves. We're not selling the company. So I say, hey, I work with Kaizen Waste, to say who. So you got to figure out a lot of ways to get those warm leads. But once we talk to them about what we're offering, I've never heard somebody say that's worse than what we're currently being offered. Like, it's always been better, but there's a lot of times that, like, we're looking into it and our competitors are paying a lot of money to our clients to make sure that they stay with us. So that's just an important aspect of it.
Interesting.
All right, dogs should be done now.
Good. That makes. Is it so? From a getting in front of owners perspective, I almost worked at Matthews under the guys, and like, I know all they do is just call multifamily owners all day long. So are you just like hitting LinkedIn hard, or what's your strategy to get in front of these owners?
Yeah, I think one, you want to find your crazy customer, and to do that, obviously that's already us getting from 0 to 1. But before that, I went in and looked at my entire Rolodex, looked at my co-founder's Rolodex, my family's Rolodex, and everything. And luckily we found a guy who is in the space that used to play tennis with my dad. I was like, hey, and this was when I was at Crew. I was like, hey, could you just maybe can I get a coffee? Can I buy you coffee? And just ask you about the space. Like, I wasn't even looking for business at that point. Obviously, in the end goal, you want to make sure that you're growing the business. But at that point, I was like, tell me why I shouldn't do this. because this was when we were just in the single family residential side of things. And he was like, well, no, you actually should. Here's the reasons why everybody's falling short. This is the ability or the way that you could get into it. So we found our crazy customer through a familiar, warm intro. And I think that that's something that like I will never discount the fact that that was our way of starting. And so we had that. And then you kind of he's now become our champion. Like, hey, if you don't trust my word, like go and talk to so-and-so that does trust us, that we are on site and doing his properties. And as a matter of fact, he's got a great reputation in the space. So yeah, that's really helpful. But on the other side of things, it's like he's an advisor. He's helping us as much as possible, but he's not in the trenches with
Right.
us, so to speak, right? So LinkedIn was huge. Like I grew from, I don't know, like 100 followers to I don't know how many I have now, but a considerable amount more just by, connecting with as many people as possible and just saying, hey, I'm not trying to pitch you right now, but if anything comes up, if you want another quote, another comp, like let me know. Happy to do so. Obviously free of charge. We'll go on site and see what's going on. And then you slowly build that way, which is a bit more grassroots, but there's so many different ways to really go about it.
Have you ever considered, I'm just thinking through a biased marketing perspective, like because there requires a little bit of education, since let's call 80% of people aren't doing it, like
Mm-hmm.
selling on that pain point instead of trying to fit that into a DM that's not a fat paragraph,
Mm.
quote outreach. Have you ever considered or thought about making like a video sales letter, a quick 10-minute video on like why you should use this in the first place? Like pain, then position yourself, solution, and then look at these guys who've used it, and then sending that video as like it's like a lead magnet, but it's really just selling your service.
I haven't. I
Okay.
mean, being completely honest, I have not. I think that actually um, that could have a lot of fruit. Obviously, I think you want to make sure that it's curated, et cetera, and building it out to exactly what that pain point is. The only tough thing is one pain point for one property manager is not exactly the same as another, because there's a bit of a different mix in terms of how the properties are set up. I mean, like for example, one of the properties that we're going to start on was like, can you just make sure your runners don't smoke? I was like,
Mm,
yeah, of course. Like our runners do not smoke. They won't drink on site. They won't do anything, anything nefarious, right? And another one's like, hey, can you make sure that you show up at 7 p.m.? Like, I don't want you to show up at 11, kind of thing. So, but I think if we can get pain points for each one of those things, it could be very effective. And yeah, it's better than just a few paragraph LinkedIn. I mean, I'm victim to it as well. I shouldn't say victim. I'm guilty of it as well. When I see a couple paragraphs, I'm like, oh shoot, this is sponsored content. Let me just delete it.
right.
So yeah,
I think yeah, because if you just a little bit more on the like education side, why you should use this in the first place, and then battle the ones like you said, like we're never late, we don't smoke, we don't do this, it's going to increase your
yeah.
property value. I don't know, I'm just like spitballing, but I think it'd be kind of
Here's the thing. I am open to trying anything. So yeah, that could be something we could talk about. Off channel. See if we can curate something. That'd be cool.
we have one for us where like we make them watch it before a call, like hopping on a
Mm,
call with our team. So then they're like pre-framed, they're pre-sold. So it's like the goal is like it handles all their objections, X, Y, Z, like why pay an agency, why you should learn this skill for learn how to fish, whatever.
yeah.
And then that way it's like, salespeople are like order takers, or it turns into more like, hey, what like this, it's just wrapping up a final few cues, and then here you go, let's get you on board.
Mm, yeah.
Um,
I like that. I like that a lot. I could see I could see the arching theme being sending that to our property managers potentially after they have the contract done. But even before, we could do that too to even qualify them. But a lot of times the property managers we get on, break down our tech and how you use it, et cetera. But actually showing the difference makers and what they're going to see down the line would be very helpful.
Yeah, I get kind of fired up thinking about it. It's just because like if you frame it as don't frame it as like why you should work with was it Kaizen?
Kaizen ways.
Yeah, Kaizen Waste. Why you should work with Kaizen Waste. No one will click on that video. But if you're like
Mm-hmm.
you got to increase your multifamily's property value, and then it's just a VSL, like it's just messaging. It's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just the frame, but that's sick. Okay, so zooming out,
Okay.
like what's your why behind all this? Right? And the
I
famous
had a
question.
feeling you were gonna. I had a feeling you were gonna ask me this. It was funny.
touching the surface. But what's the
Part of
end
it.
goal?
Well, the end goal for Kaizen is likely to sell, right? I don't see myself. I mean, there's potential for it, but I don't see myself necessarily being 45, 50 years old and running this business. I could be completely wrong, but this space in general is kind of a roll up space. So the larger players are constantly buying the smaller ones just to increase their market share. So um, yeah, that's for Kaizen. You asked me what my why is. Are you talking why like just in life to be an entrepreneur or what?
Man, I don't even know. I think it's more so, yeah, like what makes you get up every morning
Mm,
and want to put your heart and soul into this?
mm. Yeah, that's a really good question. I I can't say I'm over the moon about trash in general. My favorite thing in the world is problem solving. Like I think that's the difference maker for kind of entrepreneurs is they don't kind of run away from problems. They hit them head on and want to figure those out. So, and that was actually I can't take credit for that kind of quote. That was from my main advisor. He was like, "I'm obsessed with problem solving, and we're a problem solving company that just happens to be in property management." I was like, I love that. So I love problem solving, and that's what gets me up every single day because I go on to our platform and see every photo of every door from the night before, or our ops guys are on doing it as the property's going or being serviced, but I check it just from like spot checks randomly in the morning. And it's like, okay, well, something was going, there's a violation here. How did we solve this? Like, did we take the trash? Did we not? Do we have to reach out to the property manager? Oh, the compactor's full. How do we figure that out? Just random stuff where it's like you're kind of writing your own story, steering your own ship, and the property managers just want the least amount of friction possible on site. And if we can reduce that by solving their problems, it's a win for me. And you never know what's going to come up day to day. Like there was one day in the not so recent past, we had 1,000 cans delivered with our logos on it and everything. One, the logo was wrong, so that was special just to start with. But they sent us cans that we got non-fire retardant cans because Arizona doesn't require fire retardants. I won't bore you with that stuff, but they sent us cans that said they were fire retardant and they weren't. And so all of a sudden we're going out on site to go drop off all these cans at the different properties that we're starting, and we get a call from the manufacturer, from the third party, and they were like, by the way, like, you can't put those cans out. There's this huge reason. And then we had to figure out how to get all the cans off the property, get new cans in before the first residents go in, and it's just like total ad hoc. You don't have a playbook kind of thing. So that's what I love when you're going, when you're calling audibles all day.
Damn. I don't think many people can say that. Like they love like the pressure. Like they love like
Mm.
I think that's what that also lead to your success is the fact that you're willing to embrace it. It's like because
Mm.
it's half full or half empty, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like which like yeah, you just choose to look at that half full. I love it. I'd probably be like,
Well, I mean, that was the initial piece, and then I was like, okay, well, is this a do or die? Like, we need to figure this out. So,
yeah,
yeah,
let's go. What would you say? What percentage of you day to day are working on the business versus in the business?
on versus in. So, when you say in, like being on site,
In
like in
the
actually,
week, dealing with customers, managing your team versus on is like, hey, how are we going to scale this thing?
I would say on is much more like broad stroked, where I'm kind of always thinking about that too. Like right when I wake up, I'm thinking about it. It's not like, I wake up, I'm thinking, how do I grow by 10 properties kind of thing. It's not so much that, but it's always like my best thoughts have, funny enough, always been shower thoughts. And so it's obviously that's not a time where you're typically working, but when you're an entrepreneur, it's kind of like, when your eyes open till your eyes closed kind of thing. So that I'd feel like is probably pretty hard to justify an actual number on a day-to-day basis. It's fairly extensive, but um, in terms of dealing with customers, potential clients, dealing with the team, I'm talking with my internal team. I don't know, probably around 2 to 3 hours a day, which isn't very high. Like they're all the ops side of things. They're chatting a lot with each other, but I'm much more oriented towards the partnerships perspective. The, like you said, the how we're going to grow, et cetera, where I'm I feel like I'm running numbers a lot all day to say, hey, if we do it for this door, this is compared to what they're being charged. If we can get it for this long term of a month, if we're going to give them this signing bonus, whatever it is, like, is this going to be attractive? Okay, this might be attractive. Let's go get a meeting with them. Let's go buy them lunch or whatever it is, and figure out just how to get in front of them. So that's probably my biggest thing, which is like the partnership perspective.
Chasing whales is fun. It's just like,
Yeah,
it's just going after, yeah, like, what can I do? You're good. I mean, yeah, you're easy to talk to too, extrovert. Like, it's like, that must be fun.
I've been told I'm a chameleon because if you ask my internal family, they're like, you don't speak. So you kind of
Yeah.
get different sides of me. But from when you get me talking about trash or anything I love, yeah, I probably don't shut up.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's nice to go out and just like, hey, like, who can you meet? Who can you talk to? It's funny.
Yeah.
I want to do more of that again. We've almost
Mm.
got heavy on like the, run ads, post content, where it's like you forget about the word of mouth, you forget about referrals, you
Yeah.
forget about like all like the more boots on ground guerrilla
Mm.
warfare. And I think there's a fine balance, but
The networking thing is the most fun piece of building a business to me because and a lot of times I'm connecting with people that like I try to make sure I'm connecting with people that a lot of times don't have any synergies with me. At least any immediate synergies, like, oh, you work in property management, oh, you have a building, oh, you do this, that, or the other. Like, I'm trying to think of a random example. Like somebody who somebody who's he's a trainer in the gym, and it's like, okay, I'm talking to so and so about, oh yeah, I do this, that, and the other, and we're training, and after the session's over, we're leaving. He's like, hey, you should talk to so and so. I train him occasionally. Like, he's doing this, that, and the other. It's like, boom, warm intro. And you're not thinking of getting business from your trainer, but everybody knows somebody that's probably one remove. You're one remove from probably your whale, and you just need to make sure that you're figuring out how to leverage your network, obviously in a soulful and in a legitimate way. Like, you don't want to be extracting things from people,
right.
but yeah, I mean, utilize your network. I'm always happy when people ask me for an introduction, or when people are like, hey, what do you think of this? Like, I love helping, so I'm hoping that that's the same way that is being received by my network. But some people are just kind of in their own lane, they don't want to talk. But yeah.
What's nice is that you also have recurring.
Mm.
Just like you're not, dude, like we're switching up our pricing model. We're gonna probably have recurring upfront as like an enrollment fee to help cash flow the business, buy our next customer, continue to invest in making the team, hiring better, like more just people overall so we can grow,
Yeah.
but also recurring 30 days after for like extra
Love it.
support. And then they can cancel anytime. That's
Yeah. I
versus
have actually an interesting take on the recurring side of things. I think obviously recurring is great from a small perspective of it, right? But I forget who was talking about it. I think it was Teal. Peter Teal was talking about it, and he was saying, everybody's so obsessed with this recurring revenue subscription model, but everybody's going to be moving towards this usage based billing model, which I thought was really interesting. This was like pre AI, probably, like, I don't know, I shouldn't say pre AI, but pre like mainstream of it, like 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting. I don't know if I fully subscribe to that. But then next thing you know, our developers are now going in and saying, hey, for every single function that we build out, like when we're having AI help us code all of this, it's going to cost us X amount of dollars. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So we're getting charged, let's just say $100 a month for this service. But if you want to go add this feature, it's going to cost us 20 cents per prompt. Like, it's interesting because all of a sudden you can move this into Netflix and be like, hey, we're getting charged $10 a month, and that's just flat. You can watch 1,000 hours, or you can watch 1 hour, and you're still getting charged $10. Well, why don't you try to incentivize, let's just say so and so watches an hour where they might churn off, and they're not gonna utilize your service next month. Charge them $1.50, and then for somebody else, charge them 5 cents per show that they watch. And a lot of times you've got to balance that, because your super customers are not ones that you want to piss off and feel like you're nickeling and diming them. But I found it interesting. And the reason why I'm kind of going Netflix and all over the place here is because we've been thinking about doing usage-based billing, where when we get to a certain density, we're going to want to launch a hauling side of things. So like, think Waste Management or Republic. And rather than charging them for, hey, we're going to pick up your trash, or pick up your compactor 3 times a week. Hey, we're not even going to tell you how much we're going to pick up your compactor because we don't know how much you're producing. But when your compactor's at 70 or 80% full, we'll pick it up the next day. And if you have one pickup, great, we'll pick it up once a month. If you got 9, we'll charge you for 9. But rather than making you feel like you're in a position or in a structure where you're not really getting the best bang for your buck and you're just kind of trying to figure out, oh, so-and-so is going to offer me a touch cheaper. It's just be like, hey, this is the number. Nobody's going to beat our pricing because it's totally related to how much you need it. So that's why I'm attracted to that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. It's funny. I thought you were gonna say like you're just a fan of like collecting all the cash up front and not doing it,
Mm,
because then you could have it like it's just better cash flow,
yeah.
all that, but which like has its pros and cons to it. But the usage thing, yeah, if you have the systems to implement that, right?
Mm,
Like I was just thinking like how we could apply that, but like it's like what we charge them per coaching call or Zoom call they show up to. It's like it'd be, they would probably they'd probably not want to show up to more Zoom
yeah.
calls.
I feel like you're talking to your lawyer. You're just getting billed every time you're talking to him.
Right. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if that could be applied industry wide or if that's more for like one sector.
It's
Um,
probably niched.
but
Yeah,
it's
to a
still
large degree.
a great idea. And if you have the systems to track that, like, I mean,
We're trying to build them. We're
yeah,
trying to build them. We're not there yet, but I feel like we're on the right track to be able to do that. Hopefully in the next couple of years.
I love that. That's sick. Yeah. That's, do you look up to like him or Elon for inspo, or who's your like guy?
That's tough. That is tough. I mean, I look up to so many different people for different reasons.
Yeah, one
Shouldn't say
guy.
look up to, just admire more or less, right? Look up to makes me feel like I'm a kid. But I would say Jobs is a great one. Like, and this is funny because this is one of my co-founders was talking the other day because I was like, we don't even know if the customer is going to like this, and he just sends me this quote from Jobs, and it's like it was more or less like, f what you what your customer says he wants. He doesn't know what he wants.
Right.
Like build because they don't have the understanding of what you can make it. And so don't rely on someone to be like, oh, you can't do that, or oh, that doesn't really make sense. Because at the end of the day, if it is better, they're going to switch to it and they're like, oh, well, I guess you were right, kind of thing. So might as well build big there. So Jobs is one of them. Let's see. There's, I mean, big name guys like, I obviously respect Elon to a large degree. I respect Teal a lot.
How about Hermosi?
Hormozy, I haven't dove into that deep. I mean, it seems like generally speaking, I like what he has to say, but I'm not kind of like a Hormozyite kind of thing. I know you love him, right?
He's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Um,
He's
there's
big.
a
He's
couple.
big in the marketing space, I think, versus like brick and mortar. He's not like up there with Elon and everything, but
Yeah, there's a couple like smaller guys that are around like Phoenix. Um, like my advisors, like I have a lot of high regard for them. One of my advisors is Dale Phillips. He's the property manager that I kind of talked about before. Um, he's one of those guys that's just like he's got a heart of gold, and he's willing to take a chance on anybody. And you can either build that ship or destroy it. And if you build it, then he'll ride with you forever. But if you destroy it, you're dead to him. And it's interesting because I feel like I'm luckily built the ship rather than destroyed it. But he's one of those guys. One of my mentors, his name's Chris Walton. He founded Atlas, which is kind of a real estate investment fund and development as well. And I love talking because him and I play this game called Padel like every week. It's so fun. Like it's the best game ever. But he he's a guy that I can only relate to from a perspective of like he's that guy in high school that you're like, this guy is not going to make it. Like he's not going to do anything of value. And he just killed it. He's done like everything he said he's going to do. He's built this like real estate empire and is continuing to grow. Like he's had such a great year this year. And he's given me so much knowledge, not even from a business perspective, but from life. And I feel like being able to relate, obviously, all the things that you're learning in life and move it into the business orientation of things is really important. And he's just given me such an amazing framework, even as simple as just like, hey, go read this book. Like, I think this pertains to you right now. So those kind of people I look up to, I like the ones that I can actually sit across the table from and like have a coffee with them than, oh, I'm listening to, Elon talk with, Joe Rogan kind of thing.
That's nice to be in the room with those people. I remember being at the CBRE, new intern, just going up to the multifamily guys doing tens of millions, and I'm just like, hey, cool if I buy you a coffee. And I ask the
Yeah.
dumbest questions, but they're still like, some were nice, some weren't. But it's like it is crazy. Like when you think that this whole game of life, money, like it's just points. In my opinion, I've said this before. Like it's literally
Yeah.
just points, right? Like um, an allocation of labor, as Musk puts it. It's like, but we like, what's the end goal? Like, what's the impact? Like success or
Mhm.
um,
I think for me at least, like I feel like I'm building everything that I'm trying to build. Like I've got nothing to my name right now. I mean, I've got a cool logo and a cool company name in my opinion, but I don't have any money to my name. But I feel like when I'm building, it's not for myself. It's not to go, to Ibiza every summer and, party for as long as I can without real, where money's no object. I feel like I'm really building this like for, um, pre Sam Bankman-Fried, I would say a bit more from an effective altruist perspective, but I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole anymore. I would say, I mean, it's just for family. Like, I don't have a family yet. I plan to have one, hopefully not in the long too distant future, but it's all for my kids to be able to do whatever they want to do, and more so for just like me being able to show up for their little league games, no matter how insignificant it may seem to like a dad, where it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to go out and watch this guy hit t-ball and play for 10 minutes. But I think one of the bigger pieces that my dad and my mom as well did such a good job with, I mean, my dad had a full-time job and he was busy as ever. He was in multifamily and he was a broker, and I can't remember one time that he didn't show up to any of those games. And it was impactful. And I want to have that be the bare minimum for what I'm going to do for my kid too. So it's the flexibility or my freedom, but to obviously give it back to my kids to be in and around their life and be a friend to them as well as obviously be a parent.
I want to talk to you. I agree with that, like 100%, like 1000%. The thing is, and I want to talk about this too, especially like young entrepreneurs. Get your take on
Yeah.
this. Girls at our
Mm.
age, like what do like I like, bro? It's tough. It's like, do you go like, do you build the garden and then let the butterflies come, or do you go
It's
to the butterfly,
really tough.
or do you like?
My personal perspective is do not build the garden and let the butterflies come. Mine has always been like find the girl while you're in the trenches and then like just build a life with them and around them. So I think that's contrary to a lot of what other people may think because it's distracting. I mean, of course, like you're now spending a whole bunch of time with what's hopefully your best friend, and it's obviously amazing, but it is taking time away from building building a business. I mean, I have a girlfriend now, and she's amazing. But before it was, hey, at 9 p.m. I'm on calls with my co-founders, and we're brainstorming. That's all we're thinking about. That's it. We're out on site until 10, 11 o'clock at night trying to figure out. I mean, we used to have. We used to have body cams on us, and then we would go through the footage afterwards and be like, okay, is this the most efficient way? Like we were just nerds about it. And now it's a little different. Like there's a level to like, okay, we're gonna go, I'm gonna go have dinner with my girlfriend here, and we're gonna have a nice relaxed night and spend time together. But priorities change, and I think it's really important to be able to balance all of that. And I'm I don't have a great work life personal life balance. It changes constantly. But I feel like I'm in a better spot right now than I was 3 months ago, than I was 9 months ago, 12 months ago. But long story short, I want to build the garden with the one butterfly that I want rather than, a whole bunch of them that might just be there because the garden's so pretty. Like that's kind of my thought.
Yeah, no, I love that. Do you go out of your, like, how do you find that though if you're in the trenches, unless your friend just texts you, hey, there's this girl you need to meet, right? Like, it's not
It,
always that easy. Like,
it
or
is
are you
not
on
easy.
Hinge, you're on Hint, or were you on Hinge? But it's fun
It's
when
I
you're,
was really lucky because like one of my really good girlfriends in high school was best friends with my now girlfriend. And I'd never met my girlfriend until like, 9, 12 months ago. And I was just like, hey, like I want an intro to her because she basically like, checked all of my boxes. And I don't want to get too deep onto that side of things. I don't want to get mushy here, but it was such a good fit. And I wasn't in the mode of like settling. So if it didn't work, I wasn't going to entertain, talking with somebody. I was really bad at this growing up. Like if I had a remote amount of distaste or disinterest towards a girl, I would just like kind of end the relationship. I was not good at like keeping the roster that, guys talk about. It just wasn't in me to be able to text somebody when I didn't want to text them. One of my friends phrased it to me more just about people. He was like, everybody knows if you love them or if you hate them, and you don't really have an in between. Which I was like, oh geez, like that doesn't sound great. But like I'll just give I'll give all my time to obviously the people that I love, but the people that I'm not a big fan of, I'm working on it. It's a work in progress, but I've been really bad at just like giving time to people that I'm not infatuated with as well. But you got to keep your circle tight a lot as
Yeah.
well.
No, it's tough, bro. Like, it's really tough. Like, I know we don't hang out every day, but then when we do see each other, it's like super nice and chill.
Yeah. It's instant. I mean, you're the type of friend that I don't need to see for 3 months, and right when we see each other, it's like nothing's changed, which I love. Those are the guys that you love.
It's tough. Like, imagine like if you like, I don't know how people have such big circles. Like, there's probably two guys I talk to every day, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I can't fathom doing more. It's kind of like it's tough.
I mean, I talk to my team and my girlfriend. That's it. Like, obviously my family too, to a large degree, but yeah, the rest of my friends, like, I mean, I'll hang out with them on the weekend, but I'm not, hey, what are you doing today, kind of thing. Because obviously, when you're trying to build a business, like you are, it's like I don't really have time to keep up with you from a day-to-day basis. Like, delete Instagram, delete Snapchat, delete all those things. It doesn't matter. Like, your circle's not 2,000 followers big or following 2,000 people big. Like you said, you're talking to 2 people a day. Like, that's, send the text to people you want to send to. That's about it.
Spot on. How do you stay productive and not busy?
I feel like I'm actually pretty decent at this part. I don't just sit in front of a desk all day. Like, I'm constantly moving around. Like, you saw me at the gym yesterday. What was that? 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I always want to be fluid. So my schedule is obviously as yours probably is in terms of when you have actual meetings to go do. I mean, I think I had 2 meetings yesterday, maybe one that was at like 8:40. I think it was 8:30, and then another one that was at like 2. So I knew that I had those 2 meetings that were blocking the day in terms of I need to be here, I need to be doing this, but otherwise, like, it's a bit more fluid. So I need to get these 5 tasks done today, and that's really what I'm focusing on. The other side of things is, okay, let's go do something that's going to reduce your stress. So my whole thing is like I'm always trying to burn a lot of calories a day. And so that's going in the gym, that's going and playing some sort of sport, which I love playing, like padel or tennis, or I've kind of given up on pickleball. I'm not a huge fan of that anymore, but like just doing something that's really active to get the endorphins rolling and just totally separating yourself from the business and then coming back to it afterwards with kind of a fresh mind. So I don't feel like I'm like, hey, I'm going to be in front of this computer for 9 hours. We're going to grind stuff out. Because a lot of times you might have a day where you do need to do that, but the next day you might really not have that much on your plate. You might be waiting for a lot of things to come back to you because not everybody's on the same time frame you are.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like you have a great job, like of having that done. Like, a lot of people I know do struggle with that, but you have it pretty down pat. When you pulled up on the treadmill yesterday, I didn't even tell you this, but you were big dogging me hard with the grade, the 25.
Oh.
I was like, this guy. I started bumping mine a little bit. I was like, yo, belittled me.
That's
But
too good.
but yeah. So overall, would you say you're more like operator than visionary if you had to pick?
Much more visionary, I think, than operator.
Really?
Yeah, I think from an operator perspective, I'm looking at when you say that, like, hey, are you really dialed into the standard operating procedures of what your company is going to do? No, like I'm really not that guy. And I feel like I've realized that's not my strength. And partnered with the two guys that can do that and are really, really good at it. And like my side is much more like theoretical. How do we build this? Like, if we were to do this, would that make sense? Why wouldn't it make sense? Like, just always, I laugh. One of the guys I work with, his name's Alexander. He's constantly the guy that like brings me right back to earth, because I'm like, hey, what if we do this? We could expand to these different states and grow to this many units. And he's like, dude, we've got 9 employees, like, to be able to do that in the immediate term. You really think we can go expand 4,000 units in a place that we don't have a base in? Like, we need to grow that. He's just the more practical side of things. So in short, I'm definitely more.
Weapon, dude.
What's up?
You must be a weapon, because I thought you'd say more the operator side, because you came in with the VC back, the financial analysts. Like, if you can understand that, the numbers, but you're also that visionary, like, that's a weapon.
I can understand it to a marginal degree. Like, I mean, I can look at a spreadsheet and kind of deduce what it's telling me. But if you want me to go out and build that spreadsheet, well, that might be where I'm sitting in front of the computer for 9 hours a day. Like, I'm not very efficient with that kind of thing. But if it's being presented to me, then yeah, I can figure out that makes sense. That might not make sense, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I'd love it, dude. So, all right, to kind of wrap things up, I'd love to ask this, but what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
I wish you told me this before it started, because now the biggest piece of advice. Just totally in general, whether it's business or personal.
Whatever comes to mind.
I think it's really short, and it came from our lead investor for Kaizen, and it was more or less like, pick your partners very wisely, whether it's personal or business related. Like, I won't go into disparagement of like past relationships or partnerships for companies, but I have not picked my partners very well, especially at the crypto company that I was at. It was not a good situation. Like, I broke under them. Like, I had a full life revamp after working at that DeFi company, and that was great. I mean, it was great to obviously to learn from and to build from, but yeah, that was the immediate thing that comes to mind. I mean, you might ask me in 30 minutes and I'd have something much more profound, but that's like, don't rush into any of the partnerships, especially like for relationships, like with women. Like, what's the rush? Like, if you know, but otherwise just relax. Life's not that deep.
That's
so
really
yeah.
So
that's all I got.
Yeah, bro. Same. Like, had to buy one out and then left one. So it was like, it's like, you don't want to let it stop you from ever dating again when the girl breaks up with you, or when you break up with the girl. But like, it's like, damn, like, I get it.
Yeah, you got to adapt.
I love it. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you at? If there's any multifamily owners out there who want
I mean, you can go to our website, www.kaizen-waste.com. You can reach out to me, Pierce, at kaizen-waste.com. I mean, I'm not really on socials. You can find my LinkedIn, Pierce Braun. But other than that, like, you're going to help us get that marketing side of things, get out on the internet. But as of right now, I probably look like an enigma.